I got chills. They're multiplying. Has Philip Clement regained control? The effort the players last night were supplying was electrifying. Yes, it was great to see Rangers be more Grease lightning than Greek tragedy for a change. And on the week where Donald Trump was re-elected to make America great again, who would have thought that dropping Tav would have made Rangers great again? But whilst we are flying high in the Europa League so far, attention's turned to Sunday, where we face a Jambo side who look more like Heidi High, Heidi Ho against Heidenheim last night. Joining me to discuss all that, Rangers and more, is Mr. Scott Kerr, Ricky Forbes, and the legend that is JD. Scott, how are we?
I'm all right, Davey. Good to see you. Intros are back. Catching us all off guard, especially JD. I don't know if he was going to turn his cap back that way there.
I tell you what, I almost burst out singing. I thought I was in the karaoke for a minute there.
Really sorted my eyebrow there.
Ricky, how are we, mate?
Good, mate. You're turning into Andy Murray with all this retirement and then come back and retirement, come back, retirement, come back.
Just a wee bit like that, mate. And how's yourself, JD?
No, good, mate.
I'm all right. I done the old Paul Scholes, didn't he? Went down to Sports Direct and bought that hat today for the pod. Paul Scholes done with the boots that time.
In fact, I actually got this one out of JD, funnily enough, but it's the same thing, isn't it? So let's get cracking on the pod then. Last night, I think the team selection again threw up a wee surprise. Robin Proper come in, probably for the cold care, it would be fair to say, in regards to the team selections over the last maybe 5-6 weeks. He started last night. Was it a big surprise for you? And was the bigger surprise Tav being dropped?
I think the Tav one was the biggest surprise, but Proper as well. I didn't expect Proper to come back in. I thought he'd went me Chris Awiro or maybe even Sterling, but he brought him back in. European football probably suits him better because it's not as physical people on his face as much, and saying that he was one of the guys who were maybe at fault for the goal, but apart from that, he did okay. I still think Scottish football and him on a great mix, and he's probably one of these ones in January, maybe going back to Holland. But the Tav one was a surprise, David, not because it's long overdue, but because it happened. And it was an important game last night because you needed to get something from it, because we've got a lot of more harder games, I'd probably say, coming up in the Europa League. So we needed something last night, and I didn't see it happening. We've all called it for weeks, haven't we? He needs to be dropped, but I still didn't expect that to happen, but give Clement his due, he did it.
Ricky, Kerr alludes to there that it was a surprise. I think we thought he would have done it before now, but he did drop him and Sterling played, and I think he played 51 minutes, but he was very strong, especially in recovery runs. He must have regained the ball 3 or 4 times when they looked to break quickly, and he gave their guys maybe 4 or 5 yards a start at times, and he still made up the ground. Is this the time where we see the changing of the guard going forward? And by Clement taking him off on 51 minutes, is that the sign that he's maybe thinking, yeah, I saw enough there, that this boy will be in the team on Sunday again?
Yeah, I hope so, Davey. I mean, you only had to look at half-time, before coming into the match, when you did a little bit of research about Olympiacos. They've had some big scalps in the last 2 years, They beat Villa home and away, which was outstanding. Everyone thinks that's a Mickey Mouse European trophy, but they still had to beat some big teams to get there. And their star man was that player Gideon on the left, and at half-time, they took him off and moved him over to Jeffrey. And they brought the other boy on as sub at half time. So that shows you the job that Sterling was doing, And to be honest, come on. I mean, he did well last night, but sports science again with that substitute on 55 minutes. I think after he made that substitution, the team defensively, that was our worst period in the match. I thought for 10 minutes we were a bit all over the place. We lost the goal. But luckily, we managed to regain our composure. But sports science shouldn't be making substitutes when you're in a game like that with the tempo of the match and you're playing so well in the game. Sterling looked super disappointed to be taken off. And okay, you can understand that if he got injured, it would have been never win.
Can I stop you just there? Because I think you made a good point. I want to come back in there. Do you think that's what cost us the goal? Because I think when Cass and Wero come on, we look sort of disorientated for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
you're saying that Clement's done this often enough now where he relies on sports science for his information in terms of minutes. But I thought we were really comfortable in the game
Yes.
and taking Sterling out definitely took something away from the side.
Yeah, no, for 10 minutes, the defence, I mean, even Focaso played well when he came on. The defence was a bit of a shambles for 10 minutes. Then we regained composure because I thought we played really well last night, and a lot of what Clement did I really liked, which we'll speak about later. But I thought the substitution did have an effect on the team, and I was raging watching it I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, it was pretty clear that he wasn't injured. Then for 10 minutes after, I mean, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But anyway, we got the result in the end and we came back into it. But for me, Sterling has to stay in the team now at right back, man. The difference, even Mikasa when he came on compared to Tavernier, and I saw people going on about today, he doesn't have the same. Listen, you're never ever going to replace Tavernier's numbers and assists. Forget that. No Rangers right back before him, no Rangers right back after him will ever score as many goals or assists as that. It's a world record almost for the numbers he has. So we need to get over that. What we need is a strong defence that can win us big matches, and hopefully that's the start of that going forward after what we've seen last night.
JD, final word on this then. Tav, is this the beginning of the end?
I think it is. I think the writing's been on the wall, probably approaching the end of last season anyway, hasn't it? Because he's had a few assists in the odd goal, but his numbers have dropped off, and that's what a lot of the. I mean, listen, he done great. That's a lot of the Tav supporters really held on to his stats. When he's no got that, he's lost a yard of pace. He's lost a bit of positioning, which was never really great anyway. But I think it is. The thing I would think about Sterling, like, he needs to prove himself that he can stay fit. And that's the big thing for him now. I would love to have seen if that last night was the Hearts game, last game before the break, innit? I would love to see if that was a game last night, whether Clement would say, right, sports science is telling me 60 minutes here, right, fuck it. He's playing so well, he's looking fit, I'm going to just let him play. Would he have still done that even if it was Sunday and he's got a break for 10 days, 12 days? That would be really interesting if he come we play Hearts and then he says, yeah, he was not fit to play 90 minutes and we play him for 75. Like, come on, just let the boy get 90 under his belt. So I think, answer your question, I think it is, and I think, but we just need Sterling to stay fit because you just spoke about every attribute he brings that Tav isn't bringing them now.
See, just to touch on this one last bit, JD, it surprised me that he's not done it in a game against them, because you look at how Sterling plays, and we've been so open in regards to, Dies and Maida in that position, and you certainly think Sterling has the physicality to match him in that position. So with the substitution against Motherwell and Clement, almost the way he looked to Tav and how his distribution was in the ball early in the second half last week, do you think the light bulb has finally went off in his head there where he says, this is the time I need to address this?
I think so. I think he's done the old, like, that's my captain, so he's playing in all the big games and it's not really worked out. And then, I mean, the Motherwell game was, I think everybody agrees, that's probably the worst performance Tav's ever put in for us. And he's had some real shockers at that back post. But distribution, passing, everything, it was just all over the place. He's been getting taken off in games recently, and it's under the guise of arrest, and he can't play all these games. He's getting taken after he's not playing well. So I think the penny's dropped. It's a light bulb moment. It could save Clement's job.
I will say, Davey, I still think Tav will play games maybe at home at Ibrox. See, when you're playing against teams who sit really deep, I think he'll come on and play maybe their games, maybe to rest Sterling at times because of his injury record, and maybe to give Tav some more games. I don't think we'll just banish him out of the team, but I do think maybe now in tough games we may struggle, or games away from home when we have to defend better, I think he has to go to Sterling. I don't think he cannot Tav. I think he can go to Tav. I think he has to offer Sterling the shirt that night, because you can see what he does defensively. Granted, offensively, you mentioned that JD before in the pod that he has to maybe improve going forward, but defensively, he's very difficult to get past. He's physical, he's strong, but he's quick. Do you know that way? So I think away at Celtic, maybe the Toddy places like that, where, to be honest with you, we should still do better in these games, but I think if the defensive back line's better, you've got a better chance of winning the game or staying in the game.
Well, what I thought was very telling about the manager is when he did bring him on last night, he didn't want to risk him at right back. He put him in right wing, and I thought that to me told me that the pennies dropped. And just on Clement, everybody that's watching knows I've been very critical of him this season. I've called for his head on more than one occasion. Domestically, I think he has to learn from last night, in which he has to adopt a philosophy that he can introduce to the domestic game. Do you think this is the turning point for him, Kerr? Can you see him, maybe the penny has finally dropped? Because if we look at it, he's been making the same mistakes, and now we have Tom Lawrence out for 46 weeks, so we can't use him as an option in the 10. He's almost been forced into playing that midfield that he played last night, and by being forced into playing it, has he stumbled on the right recipe?
The two out of three are yes. I think Diamandi still has to offer far more than he's offering. I think sometimes he just runs for the sake of running. But I think Clement has to go on club. It's like Gio. Gio in Europe was really good, wasn't he? Even Paul Aguirre looking back was good in Europe, but in the league he struggled. I think some managers come the European style they want to play is perfect for them. Playing because he's no lost in the last 6 games on Europe away, which is a good record. But playing against teams in his own league, he struggles. He struggles breaking teams down, and he struggles with the transition at times. So I think this might have helped him, especially Lawrence got injured. I mean, Tom's been decent this season. He's come up with big moments for us, but it's big moments. But it's not like a consistently playing well. I think we need more legs, and I think that's what we had last night. I think that was the main thing we had last night was energy and legs, which in some games we don't have. Not for the sake of the guys look tired, just for the sake of some of the guys are past it. They're not getting injured anymore to run. Lawrence can't even run for 90 minutes. Tav can't run for 90 minutes. And Barham is getting into the default position when he was trying to do everything. I think having a partner next to Connor Barham has helped him massively as well. So hopefully he sees this. If he's as good a manager that he makes himself out to be, I'm hoping he sees it and says, I found the formation. Maybe it is by accident, but he's found something that's working. So I hope he kind of sticks with it 95%. Maybe he has to change it because of injury or because of resting players. But I hope he sticks with what's actually working.
And Ricky, on the team selection, I mentioned earlier on that he brought Proper back in, and maybe it was the right game. I think everybody was expecting a back four of Sterling, Suter, Casemiro and Yefty, but he decided to bring Proper back in. Elements of the game last night, I felt he was backing off too much. And domestically, you'll not get away with that. You know, in European football, the game's played in front of you 9 times out of 10. I think there's a problem there for a sort of permanent place beside John Suter. Do you think Proper can fill it? Or do you think that Clement will change his option come the weekend again?
Yeah, it's a good question, to be honest, because against Hearts, I mean, they play 2 up front, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the problem with Proper and Suter, and I thought you saw it last night, you have to defend too deep, you know. And with a big pitch, when you're playing some of these teams, especially if they're playing the low block, when you have to defend so deep because none of them have got pace, then the defence is like 10, 20 yards back from where it should be. And it's a big, big problem. But then they've signed Proper, you know. So you've got a stubborn guy, stubborn manager, and 2 stubborn assistants that they've put their cards on the table and said, look, we're going to get this guy for a bargain. He's going to be brilliant. He'll do amazing for Rangers. He's Dutch, the next Dutch guy to do well. He's came over and he's been really disappointing, and he's really struggled against the power and pace of Scottish players. So it's an interesting one. But the way I'm seeing it just now is it's very difficult because I don't think we can start Balogun in that many games, especially against Celtic. I think Celtic will run Balogun ragged, you know. But Proper the answer, you know. I would have liked to have seen Casa in there. I think we've got to try him next to Suter for his pace, his power. But we should be doing that now, mate. We're running out of games. We're away to have an international break. Before we know it, that final will be here. And if you've not tried this defence together, when it gets to the moment, the crunch moment, and you're just going to put 4 of them together, it's very, very difficult if that's the way you're going to be. We're already up against it with this final on the 15th. So I'm starting to see shoots that I like. I love our midfield. I loved their tactics last night. I thought it was brilliant that we were not trying to play it along the back. We were going long and then letting our two bulldogs in midfield win second balls. I thought that was absolutely brilliant, and that's the way we need to play against Celtic. But as a defence, I don't think Proper's the answer. But I think they are going to try and push Proper as much as they can because they two signed them. But I hope I'm wrong, but we will see.
I'm not sure. Sorry, so I'm not sure they are. By the way, that was one thing I've been pretty pleased about Clement recently, is the fact that Proper struggled. It was against St Mirren, really struggled, and we've not seen him since, even when we've made substitutions. So I've been kind of cool with that. I don't know if they took him out the firing line or they took him out to maybe give him a wee bit more tactical now / time to really think about it and adapt, because he is a player that plays with his head, as in thinking about the game. But then he was played in out the cold last night, which I thought was pretty weird. But I've been all right with that, Ricky. Like, I think they have kind of took him out but again, if he doesn't play well, he needs to come out again. But I agree that the back four is what you're saying is the one that we want to see, I think, in it.
Yes.
JD, Ricky was talking about the midfield. I think everybody thought the partnership of Rask and Barron was excellent last night. The amount of work they done off the ball, recovery, I think Raskin had the highest numbers of any Rangers player over the last 5 seasons in terms of, recovering possession. And we've all been sceptical at times because anytime he's had a run in the team, he's got an injury, at a point where he's hurt form and he's dropped away. But there is elements of a player in there. I'll almost subscribe to the argument that I think the two of them would be better with a 6 behind them and allow them to attack the spaces and close the opposition down and recover possession for us higher up the pitch so that our ball players can then hurt teams. But with you last night, is that the central two going forward for you now?
100%. 100%. I know what you're saying about being a wee bit further forward. What I would say, by the way, in the first half, Raskin had the highest passing accuracy in the whole team, which I was really surprised about because that's one thing. I think he's came back in the team and he's starting to get a run and he's looking brilliant. He's looking like a wee dog and winning the ball back. I think he needs to be better at passing. I've said it before, Barron's is similar, but I think Barron will always try a harder pass. So I think both of them need to work on that, but I'm happy where I'm happy where they are. I'm happy as 2 6s or whatever, just them sitting there. For me, I think we need somebody in front of them. I know I can see people mentioning Hadji for Lawrence. Honestly, listen, Hadji's technical, but I think that's a straight swap for me. I think both of them don't have legs, and right now we can have they two as the dogs behind them winning ball back. But if the way we are playing, especially against Celtic, I think a Hadji for Lawrence is a straight swap, and they'll just get overran again. Diomande does bring legs, but then I'm going against myself here because equally, I don't see what he's bringing to the game at all, man. It was just his pace last night, not a lot of quality, which he used to bring to the table. But I think we're desperately needing Cortez to come back by Rami to get into the middle, or Cortez isn't coming back. We either need to go looking for a 10 or we bring Bayrami in and someone goes out on the left. But I mean, I also don't. I think that Diomande can do a job out there. He's played there before. He is pacey, but I'm not. But Barn and Raskin, mate. I'm just not sure what in front of them who it's going to be.
Just a closing argument on that, JD. Diamande's almost been here a year now. What is his best position?
I don't know, mate.
What type of player is he?
I was a big fan, and then we got into talking, chatting. Like a lot of people have just been starting to say it, but and I'm a bit like, do you know what? He's not had a good season at all for me. He's not. So I don't know what his best position is. I think he equally needs to bulk up a wee bit. He needs to. He's just going to know, but he's just always in the flare. He's always down, getting battered about. He needs to bulk up. If he's certainly playing in that position, I think he's going to need to, certainly in Scotland, or he might need to try his hand out in the left or something like that. But I don't see him playing in either where Barron or Raskin are playing just now, because it's proven now we need people who are hungry and are going to win that ball back and be dogged with it. I just don't think he's got that. I don't think he's a starter for me now.
Diomande doesn't do the basics right. He holds on to the ball far too long at times. He runs down alleys into traffic. He tries things he shouldn't be trying. See, like Raskin and Barron won it and give it away to somebody else, or play a simple pass. Theo wins it back and then tries to go by somebody and I spin round about him and he's running at a defender and he gives the ball away. And I think he has to go back just to keep things simple, like he done when he came in, getting the edge of the box, having a dig. He scored that goal against St Johnstone. We all thought we were on to a winner. But I don't think he knows his own position when he's going to play. And I think he's the start of this season, no fault his own. He's played in a few different positions. I don't think he's got a settled position at all. I think he's maybe been asked to do a few different things throughout the team, and he's struggled to find where am I going here.
But see, Kerr, did he not come out and do his interview with the press that was released on Monday after the Motherwell game? For some reason, it was on one of the, what is it they do? They put things, postpone it 24 hours or whatever like that. And behind some sort of paywall or something. But when he was out and they released it on Monday, he said that he struggled with the demand, the mentality. Now, if you're doing due diligence as a football club, is that not the first thing you try and identify in a player? So is that concerning that we've spent 4.2 million on the boy and the boy saying that he's struggling to deal with the pressures of the fans and the demands of the club?
No, really. I remember Mark Hateley saying it's very, very similar when he first came. His first season, Hateley here, everybody wanted to sell him, David. You remember, because you didn't nearly as old as me. And he struggled badly. Souness took him out of the team a few times, didn't he? I remember back. So I think some players can go in straight into the team and look great, but others, off their part, they struggle with the pressure. I think when he came, it was great because he was a bit younger, he was quite raw. But once he's settled down and they've lost a few games, he doesn't like that feeling of fans being on him and media being on him. And maybe that's brought him back in shelf. Maybe he's scared to make mistakes, and that's when he makes them. I'm only surmising. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think you'll have to learn it over the next few weeks and quickly, or you might have to end up going elsewhere because it doesn't matter who you are. There's big demands at every club, but you know yourself at Rangers, and you could have 10 good games, but sooner if you have one bad game, the fans remember that for a long time.
Well, just on that then, because that's a very interesting last sentence you put there. Somebody who is prominent in having very bad games, and probably 7 of the last 8 are definitely up there, is Cyriel Dessers, Ricky. Last night, now I'll go on record as saying this, I said this on my X account, I said that he's going to be guilty of giving me a heart attack because he definitely sends my blood pressure through the roof. At times in that first half, I was ready for putting the bit right through my telly, and it's a 75-inch telly in the living room. And honestly, I was very close to doing it. So, and then in the second half, he scores a goal that I said was very Van Basten-esque in terms of how he had the composure to anticipate what the defender was going to do, take it in his stride, match up the goalkeeper and send it into the opposite corner. Now, explain Cyriel Dessers for me, Ricky, and where we sit with him just now.
Nobody can, mate. You know, all the stat shaggers have been sending me stuff all day about how many goals he scored in the last year since he's been at Rangers, and you're like, oh. So Gary texted today and says we'll have to give him credit, so I'll give him credit for his goal, mate. His goal was unbelievable. His goal was it was a great finish. I mean, I think he got lucky because the defender, it was like on FIFA, you know, the defender sort of just slid past him. He didn't even do anything like that. It was just mad, you know. And then his finish was fantastic. He got the power, bang, into the corner, mate. But everything else in the match was absolutely useless. He doesn't run. He hides. He doesn't get on the end of crosses. His hold-up plays because just is dying to say in commentary he is shite. He's just dying to say it, man. He's Super Ali sitting there going, I used to play for Rangers with Hateley. I cannot believe I am watching this absolute donkey. It's unbelievable, mate. So listen, he's no good enough for Rangers. We need to sell him. I really liked the player. He's 31. I really liked that Moroccan striker that they had for Olympiacos. He was the one that ended up the top scorer in the Mickey Mouse European Trophy last season, and he banged in the goals. So he was pretty good. He was everything that Dessers is not, you know. He's never going to be good enough for Rangers. If we have to do everything we can to move him on in January. We need to be sending him travel brochures of America, Disneyland, LA, New York, take your pick of clubs in America, mate. It's January. Get 4 or 5 million for them. I would bring in 2 strikers in January as soon as we can, and then let's all forget about the time we had to watch Cyriel Dessers.
Did you say 4 or 5 million?
Well, that's what they said that team in America. I think it was even more than that. They said they
It was 6 million.
6 million. 6 million. I wanted to pay
6 million yen.
I know, mate.
No
it's
way.
mental, but they wanted to pay that. They wanted the money was on the table in the summer.
But Rangers never refused it. Dessers refused to go.
Dessers refused it, but Rangers shouldn't have been given him. It should have been a Harry Redknapp job, mate. He should have been in the back of the motor, pretend they were taking him to training, get him through departures.
Put
a blindfold on him.
He would have missed the plane anyway.
He would have missed the plane. He'd have ended up in the wrong city, mate. But definitely no.
Can I just say, listen, Ricky, we have slaughtered them, and it isn't good enough. His goal last night was his goal, but 9 times out of 10 he doesn't do that, and we can't afford to have a striker who doesn't do that. So kudos to him. With a wee bit of skill, great finish, because his finishing and always brilliant, but that can't be one every 10. The one in the first off was easier to finish. Easier.
JD, he's got Egamani's the same. Egamani's no good enough right now. He might get better in the future. You bring him on and he makes Dessers look good. That's all bad, you know. But
that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch.
I know, but it is. But he doesn't. They don't get involved in the play. It's not just about goals being a striker nowadays, mate. You know, you need to be able. We have a huge problem. That's why I like the tactics that Clement played yesterday, right? Because we get the ball from our defence into Barron and into Raskin, and they're looking to play passes. Dessers is standing still. Our wingers are trying, and it ruins the whole team, you know? I mean, that's how when Danilo came on last week against Motherwell, just that little bit of movement made such a difference, you know?
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button there. Apologies for the wee break and anybody listening back to the audio. But JD, if we take the point on Dessers no being good enough, is there enough in this team now that we are seeing a foundation of something building, or is it still too early to say? Because the way I look at it, I'm always one for being positive, and last night was a fantastic result, and it certainly puts us probably within 2-3 points, ensuring that we stay in the Europa League beyond Christmas. Oh, well, beyond January, I should say. However, in the league, we're still 9 points behind. We could, maybe be 12 points behind by the time we play on Sunday. And then we're playing Hearts, who proved to be a tough test for us opening game of the season. So do we have to put it in some sort of context to say, yep, good result in Europe, but we need to see more of this before we can start saying we're on the right track?
That's what it was, by the way. It was a point away in Europe. That is it. That's where it starts and ends for me, because performance-wise, we've not been doing it. Stoya game was a good one. We've had the odd, good, decent performance in the league, but ultimately, no, that's nothing. I've not seen anything, really. So, no, it was a good game last night. I don't really see him building anything until I start seeing him being able to formulate a plan that breaks down a low block, or a team who just sits in and says, right, come on, and then plays a big boy up top who bullies our centre-halves and scores or something like that. So, till he comes up with a plan and we start seeing us breaking that down comfortably, or just getting out there and attacking teams, pressing teams and scudding them 3-4-0 or something like that, then domestically we're still in absolute shambles, and don't let a draw away in an alright performance where we probably should have won last night, by the way. Butland had nothing to do, take away from the fact that we're still a shambles in domestic football.
Now, see, I mean, I know Clement said last week after the Motherwell game that there's games that you need to get used to when you dominate the ball, and then he said when we come to play Olympiacos it'll be different because we'll not have as much of the ball. So if we're a better team without the ball, why don't we just give the ball to the opposition and let them make a mistake, GD? Is that not a fair point?
Aye, but that's almost like give the ball, like I'm not going to say this, like, but we're Glasgow Rangers. Like, we shouldn't actually worry about that. Certainly domestically, we should just be going for it. Like, the best when we attacked, when we pressed teams, God knows when the last time we done it was. And was it the Stoya game we done it right? It looked brilliant, and we all thought, ping, Raskin and Barn, we're pressing. We've kind of stopped doing that. Last night again was probably the next time we've done it, which surprisingly enough is a European game. We seem to press teams in Europe, but not domestically. So we shouldn't really be thinking about giving the ball or whatever. Like, we should just be going after teams. By the way, I'm not sure I heard your question, but I hope I answered it right.
No, that's a good enough answer for me, mate. You got away with that, mate. I'm not a taskmaster, mate. You're all right. So if we take the shape point that JD's making here, Kerr, I think there's definitely a sign that we all need to adjust to, and that's that Clement's not going to change the formation. Doesn't matter how many players he's got injured, doesn't matter who's available, it's always going to be, this 4-2-1 in front and then your front three. So going forward, what is the best, or who are the best personnel to fit into that? If we're playing Celtic the Mora, who is in that? That's my main concern, because I think at the weekend there is an element to say Hearts played European football last night, done a lot of running. They might be a bit tired. So is he going to maybe take Diamandi out and put Hadji in, for example? Just maybe try something a bit different. Maybe Danilo starts out the blue. But going forward, is it Raskin, Barron, Diamandi? Is it, Sterling, Suter, Casemiro, Yefte? Or when when Ridvan's fit, is he coming back in to challenge him for that spot? I mean, what is Rangers' best 11, everybody being fit?
I don't know, and neither does the manager. That's the issue. I think he has to be clever and play different formations, different teams for who we're up against. In Europe, for some reason, we do really well because it's a different game. No, we're not playing against a lot, but we're playing against teams who want to come out and attack you, so there's space when win the ball back to plenty, whereas when you're playing against other teams in our league, you don't get that. And that's when we struggle. Then they hit us in the break with a long ball and we end up conceding stuff like that, and then we struggle for their on in. But I think you've seen, I've been critical of Cherny, but I think the last few games he's dug in a lot better. He's trying different stuff. I thought he was quite predictable when he came in, but he's going back inside and he's going down the touchline as well now. He's hitting the byline to get the ball in. The chance set up for Dessers was an example of that. I thought he'd done terrific there and Dessers should have scored it. But we know what Dessers is like. Listen, he starts as he scored 1 out of 3, which is still good for a striker. But we're all complaining he's not good enough for us. And personally, I don't think he is. I think a striker's priority in January, but I wouldn't get him just because injuries. I'll wait until the summer because I think our luck will probably sign somebody and will get injured and we're back to big Dessers again. But I think you have to look at the team you're playing against. Hearts, I think, will try and come out because they're not going to come and sit and defend. So I think the team that finished last night should be well, not so much finished, but the team who played last night really well should be well enough capable of beating Hearts. I still think we'll finish second. I know a few weeks ago I was quite down because of what happened, but I've watched Aberdeen a few times. They're not great. They weren't great against us, to be honest with you. I was just mainly watching us, but I watched the game back. Aberdeen aren't great. We could have got at them. We had chances to get to them. We never used it. We weren't clever enough. And we didn't defend well enough. That was the issue. I'm not saying we're going to win the league. I don't think we will. But I think if we're going to win, we will finish second. There's players there who are good players, as they've proven. It's just get them to do it every week. And that's down to the manager. Managers getting till now at the end of the season. Listen, I was like you, Dave. I said you should be away. But then he does some things and you're thinking, has a penny dropped? We'll see game by game, because I still think it's game by game with Clement. I don't think you can look ahead to the summer. I don't think you can look ahead even to January. I think it's game by game as a fan base, because he wins on Sunday, we're all happy. But if he gets beaten Sunday, he's back to square one again. Do you know what I mean? They'll have a break for a couple of weeks and people are saying bring somebody else in before the international break's over. Stuff like that, because as a fan, you want to win in every game, no matter how well you play, how poor you play. You want 3 points every game or whatever. So I think you have to look at his squad of players. He must know by now. He's been there over a year. Yes, there's new guys. Can I keep saying new players, but some of these players have been in the building for a long time. And we'll just walk through the door. So he should know their strengths and weaknesses and where their best positions are, or basically where they play well. And you should know the opposition we're playing against. He's been here long enough as well. So and he's got guys doing analysis on them. So sometimes he shouldn't talk as much shite either. But I think there's players there who can turn this round for us. And I think you can see it yourself. I think he's been lucky with finding Barrett and Raskin Premier League. Listen, a lot of folk, I could always come on here and always say Raskin should be involved, and I get quite a bit of abuse on here at times saying Raskin's not good enough. But as a player there, you can see it.
Yep.
Raskin needs a run of games. I don't think leaving him out and then bringing him back helps him. I think that gets him injured again. He seems to do that in the past. I think he needs a run of games. Sterling might be the same. But the two boys in the middle are part of giving us something we've not had. And I also thought Diamandi wasn't great. And I do agree with JD in that. But he wasn't playing as a 10 either. That's what I mean. He didn't know where he was on night because he was dropping deep. And then he was getting up. So I don't know if you leave him in because it gives you more legs. But against Hearts, it might not work. So if you bring Hadji back in, it might work. We probably will start Dessers. But Daniel is there now in the league. So we've got options coming back in. It's how he uses them. And it's how it works. But hopefully he's figured that out. Because if he doesn't, no doubt we'll be back on here giving him some criticism before the next game.
That's the thing for me. I just don't think it's recoverable. Does it? Is this ever been recovered for a manager? I think once this narrative starts and you're in that, I'm in that zone. As a fan, I'm in a mood where I'm no keen on him. And now I pick at everything I don't like about him. So I'm thinking, I don't think he's, now when I look and listen to his interview, I don't think he's that inspirational. And I think I'm getting that changing room. I don't see players wanting to run through a brick wall for him. I don't see that.
Sorry, you think it's very similar to what happened with Gio. European games we were fine. Obviously, Champions League we got to do him, but that's the upper class. But in the Europa League we were fine. But in Europe, he was lost as well, bringing down a low block. Do you think Clement's similar?
It feels the exact same. It feels like it's gone the same way. And the only, we're one loss for disaster. He's right. I know he's saying like seconds last. We've said that forever. Second is disaster for Rangers. Unfortunately, we're in a position now where you can probably sit here in November and say, we're going to need to suck that up this year. Because the only way Clement recovers this is by winning the league. And that's no going to happen. It doesn't matter who we think, our players aren't as good as their players. I'm not even going to say it. You know what I was going to say there? And they're no. And that's the hardest thing to say.
But see, Ricky, if we take the point, I know you mentioned it, you can name all the stats in the world about Dessers. I think the one I saw on Twitter today was that he's scored 31 goals for Rangers since he's been here. And at the same time, Kyogo had only got 25. But the argument here, and the point that JD and Kerr has just made, is that show us league titles in that time, show us trophies in that time. And that is the mark of a Rangers player, is the medals you win, not the personal accolades. And we need more players to adopt that mentality where they have to grasp the opportunity to win every trophy and compete in every big game that they've got. And let's not kid ourselves, against Aberdeen, we looked to show a defeatist attitude just last week in midweek compared to this midweek. So what is that? Is that pressure in domestic football and the expectancy? And then last night the pressure was off because not too many folk were really expecting us to get a result. Can you sum that up?
Yeah, well, to me, the team that started last night would have got a result up at Pittodrie, to be honest with you, mate, because we can't blame him for everything, but our captain should have been dropped ages ago because his attitude has been absolutely shocking, and he gave away the second goal by daydreaming again. So that team that started last night for me would have got a result at Pittodrie, you know. But I mean, it's like kidding on. Listen, you can kid on. We can talk as much shite as we want, and you see people going on about, oh, we need a Scottish core, we need this core, we need that core. They got lucky, right? And I'm going to, like, people can go mad, oh, you shouldn't be speaking about Celtic. They got lucky. They brought in 3 unbelievable players from Japan. Anyone comparing Dessers to Kyogo has never watched a game of football in their entire life. What's the stats? I mean, okay, the only thing they're comparable at is that there's always a sniper in the stand shooting both of them because they're always on the ground rolling about every match. There's always this sniper that has a pop at both of them, and the difference is ours don't go to VAR, man. But listen, you've got to be honest. Their 3 best players are Hatate, Maeda, people slag him as Roadrunner, man. That guy runs about, he's mental, mate. He's absolutely nuts, that guy running about, the press that he puts on. And Hatate and Kyogo, that's the quality we need in our team. And until we get, like, if you don't think our manager's as good as Rodgers, right? You can say, okay, he's won 3 trophies. But if we don't have as good a manager, then we need players that are better. And we can find their players, mate. The players that they got cost absolute peanuts, by the way. They don't even get in the Japan team right now. There's players in the Japan team that we could go and sign, but our scouting is lazy. It's the same crap. It's the same, let's bring a kid from Morocco that's so raw, spend 2 million on him that he's nowhere near miles away. We've probably got players in the B team more ready to play for the first team. So let's be real about the situation. Until we get a better quality of player in, which we need to do. I mean, they can lose a few. They lost a few in the summer. But we need to be ready to pounce. And that's what we can go on about, rebuilds and rebuild this and rebuild that. And we and also our squad just now, mate. If you watch the games through the week as well, they're bringing on 5 players. When their players get tired, they bring on 5 players that keeps the intensity in their play, and they don't change from 1 to 90 minutes. Last night, our team was fantastic, by the way, right? You cannot fault the players. Ran about, they ran, they put full effort into the match. We brought on a right winger at left wing, a right back who's finished at right wing. We brought on a striker that's completely raw, and we need better quality. And we're getting players back. Yilmaz is back, Bitondo's back. And I know some of them we can say about, are they going to get injured again, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, they are bringing on players that are affecting the game and keeping the intensity up. We need to get that in our squad. We need to get these high earners out, your Lawrences, your Tavs, your Dessers, and your Yilmaz if he's injured all the time, Danilo if he's injured all the time. We need to replace them, the players that contribute, but we also need players to come off the bench. We need 17, 18 players that are there, that are first team ready players. And until we get that, Celtic is going to win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. People going on about Dessers who scored the same goals as Kyogo. Comedians, mate. That's not going to win us. That's not going to win us the Premier League. That's not going to get us back on top. Denying and putting your fingers in your ears and pretending that things are not... I agree with Kerr about Aberdeen. I think we can catch Aberdeen. But forget about Celtic just now. But your rebuild has to be done properly.
We've heard the same narrative for the last few years with Tav. And this is the way fit boys went and the way people play computer games or whatever, and they look at a lot of stats and stuff like that. I get it. You score goals, that's great. That doesn't mean anything to this club. And we've heard it for years. We've battled against people telling us that with Tav. We won a league with Tav, brilliant. We won 1 league. That's not good enough at this club. So that's where that we need to get rid of that narrative. It's no good enough. I don't care, honestly, about Tav's goals and all that. I don't care about Desser's goals. I want silverware. I want to have that. I want to be the one who's walking about with a smile on my face.
No, it's a great point. If we bring it back to the pitch, JD, and whilst last night was positive and a great result, there's something that happened that concerned me, and that was the goal that we lost, because that's a goal we lose domestically almost every week. A dinked forward pass over the top, and John Souttar's lost. Every time he's caught underneath the ball, his positioning's all wrong. And I think John Souttar's had a fairly decent season. And I wouldn't say he's had a great season or anything like that, because your league position doesn't specify that he's had a great season. He's had a fairly decent start to the season. But that goal is the goal that he lost at Kilmarnock just a couple of weeks ago. And what is our coaching staff doing? Because for me, that's a pattern of play. We surely must take our defenders to the training pitch and say, hey, we want to put a couple of dink balls over the top and we'll work on this, because it's happening far too often.
I'm a fan of John Souttar as well. I am. I think he's got a lot of good attributes, but you can't ignore these mistakes all the time. And it is an easy dink ball. I would probably say, though, for me, he's been the best of a bad bunch, probably. And I'm including Yefty in that, because, yeah, Yefty's had a good season, but still no lighting the head on fire or nothing. And still, look at the goal against Motherwell. Fuck me, right? But I think I would blame Suter for that goal. He was just caught in no man's land again. But this is the thing. I don't think John Suter makes a lot of mistakes. And I think without John Suter, we would concede a lot more goals because the amount of times that guy blocks a shot in the 6-yard box is unbelievable. But unfortunately, kind of like Butland, when you make a mistake, it will cost a goal. Then it takes 10 worldy saves for everybody to forget about that mistake. And that's just your job as a goalie. And that's what that comes with territory. Same with defenders and centre halves. One mistake, it's going to take 10 goal line clearances, 6-yard line blocks for folk to forget about that. But that's hard, and defenders are always going to get it. But there is this wee hoodoo with John Suter making mistakes that cost. Every time he makes a mistake, we lose a goal.
And it's not just John Suter though, JD. I mean, Butland's had maybe 3 or 4 in him this season as well. And what is the problem there? Is the problem that maybe we don't work on defensive shape, or is it the fact that we keep chopping and changing the back line that's the problem? Is it a lack of consistency?
I would hate to think it was not that we were only working on it. And I would love to hope it was just a phase of mistakes that you're never going to see again. But it could be the consistency thing. I don't really buy into that. Like, they should, that's their job. You go to your work and you know what your job is. They go to their work, they know what their job is. But the day you're just not doing your job, you'll sit outside, fine. But when they come in, they should be able to just do it. It's not as easy as that, I get. But so I couldn't put my finger on it. I'm hoping that we're going through a real bad phase because everybody in the game talks about how good John Suter is. We don't play the game, we just watch it. But I'm just hoping we are going through a really bad, unlucky phase where every mistake we seem to make, there's a goal. But that's been going on for too long for it to be like anything other than the players' problem, I think.
100%. I'll give you the last word on this then, with last night's result being in the Europa League. Do you think that does enough to make sure that we're in the competition come the playoff round?
I think so. I think the next 4 games, I'd hope we could get at least 4. I'd love 6, but I think if we get 4 points, you're there. So I think it's enough. I think that was a good away point. Who have we got next? Nice at home?
Nice.
Away.
Nice away. If we could sneak a point there, and then if you scrub out the 2 English games, and then you're going to your USG last game, 3 points takes us through.
No, we'd all settle for that. Now, Kerr, I want to touch on something a wee bit different that's maybe away from on the park here, and that was the launch of a 4th strip, which is almost a secondary limited edition, auxiliary, what is it, celebrating 125 years of Ibrox, alternative home kit. Now, I think the vast majority of fans that I could tell for social media prefer it to the actual home kit. Is this just fleecing the fans, in all honesty? Because what is the need for it? Could that have not been brought out next year as the home kit at the start of next season? Or is your financial position that peril at the moment that there is a need and demand for the club to produce a 4th kit as an income stream?
I think it's probably all clubs do it. David, not just us. I mean, I think it's English clubs get 5 kits out. I think a couple of Italian clubs get more than that out. So I think it's just what manufacturers do, sports manufacturers do. They'll come out a club of ideas and say, right, we want to do this, we want to do that, different training tops, different home training top, away training top, this centenary kit. Listen, I think, remember they brought out the AC/DC kit, right? And I actually purchased that because it was AC/DC, right? But I think that's sold out. Do you know what I mean? But it's never going to be worn in that. It's just a top with Rangers badge and AC/DC on it. I think it was at 60 quid as well. So I think when they bring stuff out, they'll bring out a limited amount, and because they know there's a market there, the fans will buy it no matter what. Because fans do buy stuff. So a lot of guys out there who buy every top because they like to collect football stuff. But some folk won't. I really like it, I have to say. I'm not going to buy it because it's £80 and I just can't afford that at this time of year. But I don't think I'll not wear it anyway, so I might buy it if it goes on sale, maybe next start of the year or whatever. But a lot of folk have probably already got it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's what fans do. Because a lot of fans don't want to spend their money elsewhere. A lot of fans just spend their money on their football team. I'm unfortunately I can't really spending money a lot of places because I've got other stuff to pay off. But yeah, someone say it's a Motorhead one. I'll buy that as well as a Motorhead one. But you know what I mean?
You'd buy a Slipknot one. What you talking about?
I've got a few Slipknot hangs in me. Cheap. You've been a Slipknot boy.
I can't wait to the live edition of the pod for the cat house.
Oh, dear, much
Yeah, with the
in the centre of it.
The white makeup on them, you wouldn't even recognise him. White makeup, the black eyeliner.
That's the Not Another Rangers podcast Christmas night out. Get the makeup on, boys. Kerr's taking us out.
So, what I was going to say, Ricky, obviously, if we look at the fact, taking it back to football again, we're playing Hearts. Now we are at the perilous point in the league where we are on almost life support. We cannot afford to drop any more points. So this game is must win, and every game between now and the rest of the season domestically is must win. Do you think Clement has assurances that regardless of how bad results go, that he is here for the rest of this season? And then where does that come with fans? Because Rangers fans will not accept second, never mind potentially third. So whilst last night was a good result, and we do hope that we do beat Hearts and pull some points back, and hopefully the two in front of us drop points this weekend. But if we were to drop points, is that critical for his tenure?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. Listen, you can talk about 10-year contracts, 6-year contracts. The fans will decide if Clement is the Rangers manager or is not the Rangers manager, right? You saw it. You mean Kerr was at the match. That booing at half-time last week when we were 1-0 down, if we did not come back in that second half and got knocked out from Motherwell, last night's game was irrelevant, man. I mean, like I think JD hit the nail on the head. A lot of fans have made up their minds already. To me, he got very lucky, and we never like to see a player get injured. But we all saw it last week. Lawrence got injured. Diomande made a difference in the midfield because he brought a bit of pace into the team. Then, fair play to him, he put his thing on the line, and he brought on the two players that brought pace and energy, Danilo, and who was it? I can't remember who else he brought on, but he took off Tavernier, and that brought energy into the team, and he got back into the match, and he won the game 2-1. But at that point last week, he was on life support. The fans were telling him that as well, right? If he loses to Hearts, right, then it doesn't matter. I mean, okay, he might not get sacked after the Hearts match, but then he's limping on. He's got two massive games. You can't go 6, 7, 8, 9 matches and not beat Celtic. If he cannot afford to get one player wrong in that cup final. They are licking their lips at the fact they're playing us on the 15th. If they give us an absolute doing and embarrass us, and it's Pedro levels, and the last Old Firm game was his worst Old Firm game since he's came in. They absolutely toyed with us and could have gave us a cricket score that day. If they do that again at Hampden, it doesn't matter what anyone says about contracts and transitions and the end of the season. The fans will not stand for it, and the noise will be that loud. They will have to fire him and find another manager. But they should be thinking about that already. To be honest with you, and I know they should have a plan in place already. They should already be sounding out your Muscats. If they want Lampard, speaking to Graham Potter, and that people will go, oh, that's it. But they should be asking the question with agents in the background. Davy Moyes, he's itching to get back in. He's starting to do the media tours and stuff like that. So we should already be asking questions in the background. Would you be willing to take it on? I think Davy Moyes would be fantastic. I hear his family's Rangers fans and everything. I don't know if we can afford him. I don't know if it's a dream. But we should be asking these questions already if we're a big club in the background, and then see what happens. We don't want to get to January and then fire him, because, to be honest with you, I know people are saying names like Derek McInnes and stuff like that, but I think Derek McInnes would come in and stabilise everything, and I like the guy, but I do not think in 2-3 years' time he's going to take us far enough far. I mean, they could lose Rodgers tomorrow, by the way. There's a lot of English teams that will be sacking managers soon, and people are starting to notice what he's doing in the Champions League and stuff like that. They're doing well in the Champions League all of a sudden, so it's all right him pretending he's this massive Celtic fan, but if someone puts 6-7 million on the table, that's a lot of Tom Ford shoes and Gucci belts, so we'll see what happens with that. So we need to be ready to pounce, but the fans will decide if Clement is the Rangers manager, not the Rangers board.
Can I jump in on that? Because there's one thing that, and I agree with you, Ricky, there's one thing that I don't think we've spoken about it, but it worried me. I heard an interview with him. I don't know who it was with, but I was listening to the radio driving the motor, but he talked about judge me in October, or judge me in November, judge me. And then what he'd said the other day was about, when I came to Rangers, I started a project. That project ended and a brand new project started when I signed that new contract in August. Like, what? No, it didn't, mate. This isn't a clean slate and you're only on month 3. No, mate, you've been here for fucking nearly 15 months. No, you're not only in 3. He was trying to play it like brand new project when I signed my new contract. No, that ain't happening. And I'm really worried that the daddies in the background are like him, yeah, don't worry yet, and we're nodding. And we draw on Sunday. We are in big trouble, and he's in big trouble. But do we have the finance? Do we have the balls to sack him? I don't think so. I'm worried about what assurances he's been given. Equally, I still have that wee bit that me and Kerr spoke about, like, surely there's a wee caveat in there. He signed a new contract, which was out the blue. We must have protected ourselves. Like, you get to December and you're third in the league, we're sacking you and it's only going to cost us $500,000. Or you get to X and then we can give you more money. There's going to be a deal cut in there somewhere that made it beneficial for everybody, because there was no reason to give him a new contract. But if we don't win on Sunday, I mean, I'm talking about a draw is as good as a loss to us.
Just on that, JD, because I think you touch on an excellent point. Now, last night, I don't know if any of you caught the post-match press conference, but he kept coming out with the new players argument. This is a new players, new side, right? You get away with that for the first 6 weeks of the season. Yeah. There's no new players. The transfer window's been shut since the start of September. So we're now deep into November now. That has to stop. He can't keep using that as an excuse. And what I don't get is, I think it's the boy Nick Thompson for Rangers Media that sits beside him at every press conference. I think must be the media relations officer or something like that. At that point, you've got to sit down and advise these guys. Otherwise, what are you getting paid for?
Yeah, Davey, the guy that was speaking in Greek was speaking more sense, mate. Yeah. The translator.
It was. By the way, Davey, you're absolutely right. See the boy that's there. What media relations or whatever, you're not just there to be a lackey and just usher people in and say, oh, don't ask that question, or you're next. No. You're there to advise them on how the fans or how people are going to portray the answers you're giving, and pulling them aside and saying, listen, heads up, listen to the world, listen to the media, the fans aren't buying this. One of the games, where was it? Would we have 7 or 8 starters were pre-Clement? And his post-match, he still spoke about all the new players. He only had 4 new players or 3 new players in that team. Like, can he keep going on like that? It's embarrassing. That these things are the embarrassing side of it.
No, I totally agree with that, JD. And I know some people maybe agree to disagree, but I think your eyes don't lie to you. And at the end of the day, JD, you hit the nail on the head earlier, where we've seen Rangers managers get to this point, but we've never seen any of them recover for that. And yes, the jury's still out where anyone will, but the likeliness of that happening is slim to nothing. So on that, we'll just round up. We do play Hearts on Sunday. So what I will say is, yes, give us a scorer and prediction, but are you expecting anybody to come back in the team care that's maybe no played last night?
Tav. I think Tav will start on Sunday. Honestly, I think I think he starts Sunday. I think he'll start on Sunday. I think he may change a few things. I think Tav will start, because I watched that press conference and he mentioned Tav getting games. He'll not be getting playing every game, but he'll be getting games. And I do think he'll play games at home more than he'll play away. And I do think Sunday is a game should be winning. But I think he comes back in for me. I hope he doesn't, but for me, I think the manager brings him back in and rests Sterling. Because I think the sports science stuff, I've always said Sterling needs me. I'll go on his gravestone. Sports science, I think he listens to it far too much, but it could be on his gravestone when he gets his sack as well, to be fair. But I just think he brings him back in. He's not going to bomb him right out and banish him. But I think it was a game away from home or maybe against Celtic. I think he wouldn't play him, but I think because it's at home against Hearts, who have been quite poor this season. Sorry, Wolf, but they've been really poor this season. I think he knows we have to win it, and I think he brings Tab back in just because it's a home match. And he's more forward thinking than Sterling, even though I rather Sterling played.
What about your scorer, Keir?
I think we'll win 3-1. And I also think Tav will score.
Ricky, Googie's mate.
Listen, Davey, you're the gaffer. Sack him, mate. Get him back on the rabble. That's terrible, man. Honestly, exactly.
The manager.
F care. No, but you might be right, but I hope not. I mean, Sterling was fantastic last night. Fantastic, proper defence. Defence was brilliant, man. Defence was fantastic. A proper right back, pace, power, defended. Nobody could get past him. He was absolutely solid. So he has to start. If Clement goes back to Tav, it's so weak. But if he does play him, he's got to perform. I will say that, right? So the only changes I would like to see, I would love to see Bajrami in the 10 because you don't need Diamande in the 10 against Hearts at home. We need pace and a bit of power in the team. I would like Danilo to start 45 minutes, even if he lasts the first half 45 minutes. I would maybe even bring Yilmaz into the team if he's fit enough. I know he's been training like the Terminator 3 for the last 3 weeks because I still think he's got more quality than Yefte. And I would like to see Igamane on the left, almost playing 4-4-2 when we're in possession, getting close to Dessers, trying to help him. That would be my team. And we're going to win 3-0. Igamane and Dessers both score.
When the fuck did Ricky swallow a UEFA licence, man? Jesus Christ.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, man. JD, that was class, mate. Once you've regained your composure, JD, can you talk?
Jesus Christ. I don't know where to go with that. I'm just a mad wee guy that likes to watch football, so no idea. I was going to tell you a funny thing. Anyway, he'll probably bring Tav in and play Sterling left wing. That's the kind of shit that he'll end up doing. Anyway, scoring prediction. I've not got a good feeling about it, and I'm never like that, but I'm just going to go. Hopefully, Dessers scuffs a 1-0 for us, and I'll do that, and I'll still hate him. And people tell me he scores goals. I won't care, but I'll just take the 3 points and get it right up, Wolf.
No, we do appreciate you in the comments, Wolf, but I did see your score prediction, mate, and that one didn't go down too well with me. So I'll hit you back with this. Me normally being Mr. Negative, I'm going to go Rangers 4, Hearts 2, and Connor Barron, he scored the first goal. So on that note, you can see I'm beginning to get a wee bit tipsy, so that must be the end of this week's podcast. My thanks to Scott, JD and Ricky for joining us, everybody that's liking, sharing and subscribing, everybody in the comments, and it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from them. Good night.